Hi, this is John Cannings here, speaking to you from a very gloomy Zurich at the moment. There's still fog overhead, and it's a clear sign that autumn's underway. I'm just going to have a few thoughts about the first week of the workshop. Um, and one thing I'd like to do is to thank you for your contributions and posts this week, and also to stress the importance of us posting regularly, as this really helps to make the workshop more interactive, and that's not always so easy with Moodle, but we need to be aware of that to try and make it a little bit more interactive by responding promptly to people's posts. This week has really been an opportunity for you to share your own thoughts about the IB and its mission statement, and also about, with the book titles exercise, to think of a nice title for about a book about Cass. One that I've always thought would be a good one to go with would be the age of experience, because this is really an opportunity for kids to go outside their comfort zones and to try some new things out, and to try through that to learn a little bit about it. And you've been very good in sharing your experiences, personal experiences this week, that have taken you out of your comfort zones. Looking through the list of things, we had people who'd been on various outward bound exercises, on various travels. Making jewellery, for example, was another thing. And personal experiences like having to give a speech in front of people for the first time. Those are all things which are interesting and which are challenging for us as individuals. You also had a chance to look at, in groups, the standards and practices which govern what IB schools should do, particularly within the diploma. Now, there are a few requirements that are implicit and explicit in this for Cass. One of these is that you must have a student handbook that's available for the students to see, that you engage in formative assessment with the students, and really the only summative assessment there is, because there are no grades for Cass, are that you say whether the students have met the learning outcomes for Cass, and say that they've satisfactorily completed the Cass provision at the end. In addition to that, one thing which is also really important, not just from a point of view of Cass, but also for the diploma, and is a real challenge for many schools, is about collaborative planning, and particularly planning which goes across departments. The way that the diploma is organised is a little bit silo-like, and so it's not always so easy to organise those meetings. So those are some of the things that the standards and practices demand, and I thank those of you that really contributed in a big way to the discussion about the application of those standards and practices. The last exercise really is about how we go about running Cass in school. And I think one of the things which is always really important is to start with why. Is what's the point of doing Cass, and why are we doing that? And the real point is to give the effective side of the IB diploma for the students, to actually make the diploma truly a holistic experience, and one which they can gain personally. And if we look at the sort of things that both universities and employers are looking for these days, they are really keen on having people that aren't just academically sound, but also have good social skills and the ability to to take up new challenges and work across expertise areas. And so that is something that's really important as a starting basis. And it's especially important that the students and their parents actually understand what the purpose of doing CAS in the first place is. And that can sometimes be a bit of a challenge. The how is really the application of the approaches to teaching and learning in delivering CAS. Particularly, one of the things that's important is that you have time to actually to teach and supervise CAS, and also that students have some time in their timetable where there's the opportunity to discuss and learn about CAS and also to demonstrate what they've learned. So that's something that's very important. The what of CAS comes down to students finding experiences that they really want to do and they really enjoy. Our ultimate aim with CAS is to make the kids initiate many of their activities themselves, not just for the school to provide them. That's a good starting point, but we need to encourage the kids to go beyond that. Now, I do appreciate that's not always possible in all contexts. Okay, to move ahead for next week, for this coming week, which starts tomorrow, Wednesday, week 2. In week 2, we're going to really look at the stages of CAS and what makes a CAS experience. Now, in my experience, that's probably the thing which provides the most challenges for the new CAS coordinators. And it's something I think you need to be really clear about in your own school context. What are you accepting as CAS that fits within the definitions? I think one of the things that's really important to consider when you're making this decision is about whether a proposal is CAS or not, is the student who's making the proposal, what their strengths, weaknesses are, what issues they may face, and the context in which you operate. In some contexts, CAS is very difficult, particularly for some international schools, in some contexts where it's very difficult and perhaps even dangerous to be doing stuff in the outside community. And that was going to require some supervision and care from the school to actually carry things out. One last point. In this week, at the end of the week, there's a quiz. Now, people often get really hung up about the scores and grades for this. Don't. The quiz is there really to make you think about what you would accept as CAS in your context. It's not an attempt to grade you, nor is it a pass or fail experience, but really just to make you think. And it's important that you approach doing the quiz in that way. What's perhaps more value is the discussion about why you made the decision. And that's really the last expectation there is from the second week. I wish you luck. I'm looking forward to continue reading your posts, and good luck for this week. Bye.